All right, a meditation you can repeat. Every so often, you will reach a point in your growth where you will realize I'm not moving forward in the way I thought I would. Something, my unconscious, in my unconscious is holding me back. And this meditation can help you go find that. And though you had an experience today, it may be totally different the next time. So just allow that to know that you are growing, you are changing. Each and every time you do these meditations, you are different from before by choice. And so we have time for questions. John, who do we begin with?
Helen.
And can she unmute herself?
No, she can't. There you go.
Hey, Tara.
Yes, dear one. Where do we begin?
Um, I'm struggling a bit. I see with Firebot that I I have like a combative, competitive relationship with the group. Um, they're like I feel like, they're just gonna do so much better than I am. But they're more engaged than I am. And so I was really struggling last week. It was very clear that, you know, that's coming from me. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try and like see us as collaborative and not competitive. Um, I mean, maybe I can do as much sales as other people, but they're doing it full time and I'm doing it part time. Um, there's a part of me that feels like, well, I'm a metaphysician and I shouldn't have to put in as much effort. And I wrote a couple email, like I'm still working on my follow up list. I've done like maybe a quarter to a third of my follow up emails. But I'm not even halfway through because we're so busy. Harry's retirement party is this Saturday, and we're probably going to have like 100 people at the house. So I've also been using this as an opportunity to clear out the clutter in the house. And we have a new housemate, Mahnor. She was actually our original housemate 6 years ago, and she's back. And she's been helping me. And I'm finally clearing out the house. So that's amazing. And I'm trying to, like Harry, of course, Harry's strategy always is let's just shove crap and, hide it. And I'm like, no, we are not hiding it. We're actually, we don't like it. We're cleaning it up. And so it's wonderful. It's a lot of work. So that's the other thing is like I'm kind of making a choice of like I kind of every day I want to try and send 2 to 5 emails out for Firebot. But the party's Saturday, and I feel if I don't clear out the clutter by Saturday, the momentum will win, our motivation will lower. And so I'm making these different choices, but it's hard for me to feel like I'm going to feel humiliated if I don't get some sales, and I'm going to feel humiliated if I don't get meetings scheduled. And so my trust in myself and my metaphysics is a little wonky. But I also noticed with Mahnor here, like at first it was great. And then, there's like things about the other person that pop up that are uncomfortable. And so then I realized like I'm now a little more uncomfortable at home. And so here I am, I'm uncomfortable with the Firebot team. I'm a little more uncomfortable at home. And so I'm trying to figure out how to like build my confidence and comfort and within my relationship with other people.
Beautiful. All right. And as you said, okay, it comes down to me. Who am I being in the matter? And so, really, where to look is the safety comes from connecting more, not from less. In the past, it was to dissociate, it was to reject or get alone or make them wrong or whatever the mechanism was. As you can see, that being alone, doing it alone, getting alone, it's not the same as solitude. You do require solitude to do your inner work, but not to get alone, not to get away from people, you see. For you, the healing comes in connecting more, in being more available and more connected to them. And so as you've already recognized, oh, I'm setting it up, it's us and them, meaning it's me, myself, and I, and them in the sales. Why are we not part of a whole team? Or why is everybody not a unique individual that participates together? So as you look to see, oh, I'm defaulting to a consensus belief, perhaps, or just a pattern that's more comfortable. More comfortable for me to see me as separate. Then I can justify if things don't go right. Then I don't need to be vulnerable. Then they can't hurt me. So you see, those aren't the strategies of the spiritual adult, are they? So
No.
avoiding being hurt as a child or the adolescent. Avoiding being rejected as the child or the adolescent. Worrying that you're not good enough is the child or the adolescent. And so really, truly, and you are doing the work. As you say, oh, well, when I really look at what did I prioritize this week? Well, I'm prioritizing Harry and myself and the space that we share. Now with the new housemate, as you say, okay, I'm noticing I'm not as comfortable as I was. And so that's important to have communications about. So you yourself identify, well, what's the feeling I want to have? What's the familiar feeling I had before that seems to be missing? And where am I putting my attention instead of generating that feeling for me? Because it's not just for you that you generate that, you see. When at the core of your being, you are content, you are centered, you are aware that you are loved, that you are whole, that you are complete, then you have more love to give others, don't you?
Mm.
And then everybody in this space responds to that priority. Everybody's more relaxed. And when you really understand, oh, when I'm out of sorts about anything, I'm generating a different resonance. One perhaps of confusion or of chaos or of discombobulation or lack of efficiency or however it's showing up. Can it really be just me that I work with and change? Yes, it can be. Because you see, when you're centered, when you're strong, when you're empowered, when you're in your authority, you're creating something new. And it becomes an exploration. How do I want to define our new space? What do Harry and I want of our new space? So a housemate doesn't really get to dictate that, we don't think, unless you're a partner in the real estate. That's a different matter. And so it's always important to say, this is what it is for me. This is what I require. This is what my pets require. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think there's two, like when I'm thinking about, okay, how do I connect or be closer or collaborate more intimately? Like with the housemaid, the problem is she's going through healing a big trauma that I didn't know about. when we invited her to come back, or when she asked to come back. And where Abraham says, you should never fix anybody. And so it's like, how do I hold that space of seeing her as whole and complete, and not a traumatized person, but also holding that space for her to like heal without having a really negative impact on Harry and I. And then with the fire up person that right now I'm kind of more challenged by is, that the president was doing calls with me. The first two calls, they both went really well. And each call, he was like, well, you're not going to get much of a commission, or, you'd have to not need help and, not need support, which is not how it's actually set up by the CEO and founder. And so then it's like, okay, I'm just not going to do calls with him anymore. Is that, and when I talked to the CEO and founder, he was like, yeah, he's been a terrible mentor for a lot of people. It's not his thing. I don't know why they paired me with him. And so then it's like, well, I could have created the reality where he and I had this great collaboration. Um, uh, and it turns out half of this, like Firebots had this huge acceleration in sales, and he's done half of it, even though he's not supposed to be doing sales anymore. He's supposed to be doing product development, but he obviously loves it. And so then I'm like, well, is he just being competitive and he's trying to score all the points for himself and rack it up under his column? And so it's not good to partner with him. And, so then I can see that panic within me because I could just say, I'm going to like work with Chris and it's going to be fine. But there's this, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, what's going on with them? And, and, um, so there is this, I see this discomfort that I have where I'm always trying to figure out what's going on with the other person and how do I negotiate it, and so it doesn't have impact on me. And then I'm listening to Abraham, and Abraham's like, mind your own business. Don't worry about the other person. And I think I'm also a little confused about what does that look like, if you are trying to collaborate or live with somebody or work with somebody and do sales together.
Okay, so whatever's going on right now is absolutely appropriate to be working on. As soon as you make it about the other person, you've lost your power. So it is important to step back and say, okay, this is my illusion. What do I like about it and what don't I like? What are my beliefs? What beliefs are coming up to be cleared out? So what's common in both scenarios, although they're totally different scenarios, one's about sales, one's about sharing space, but what's common is, where's Helen? Who's Helen in the relationship, in the scenario? Which aspect of Helen is showing up? So doesn't matter what the scenario is. You want to make sure it's not your child on the stage, or that it's not your adolescent on the stage. So make sure that when you interact about the sales, that you're bringing your whole self, your spiritual adult self. That's who's whole. That's who's complete. That's who's connected. And then the question becomes, okay, well, this is an activity I'm doing by choice, is it not? The sales.
Yeah.
And you have an agreement with the company, we assume.
Yes.
And so that agreement stands no matter what anybody else says. And so the question becomes, are you going to act as if you have an agreement? Or are you going to act as if somebody can take it away? It's a very different state of being. One is about knowing what you have and valuing it and acting upon it and gathering the reward from it. And the other is worrying someone's going to take it away. Which one sounds like you're creating your own reality?
Right. Yeah.
That's usually an indication. And so you lead with the confidence, with the, it takes courage. We understand in the face of somebody who says, no, you're not going to get it. What do you mean I'm not going to get it? Well, you don't even tell them anything like that because you say, no, I have a contract and I'm acting as if, and these sales that I'm doing are my sales. And if you have a problem with that, I'll do the calls alone. But I would prefer to play nice and benefit from team synergies. But you see, you set those boundaries. And the stronger you are within yourself, the less those conversations even happen, you see. They don't occur in that resonance when you value yourself. They just don't happen. So we're not saying there's something bad and wrong about you that they're happening. We're just saying there is a weakness there that comes from the child or the adolescent. It's a soft spot. People take things from me. I'll do my best and they'll still take it from me. That's a pain. That's a painful reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
That needs healing.
Yeah.
So as you really let in, oh, this isn't coming up because I'm doing something wrong. It's coming up because it's not a resonant match. My thoughts, my feelings that I have in this scenario, an old pain, an old hurt that did hurt me, but it's not hurting me now unless I let it. But I do want to clean it up. I want to heal it once and for all because I can't take it into the expanded me. The me that trusts my higher self, the me that knows I create reality, doesn't respond to reality that way. It's not a resonant match.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you really let in, oh, okay, this is a gift that I don't like, but I'm going to take it as a gift. It's signaling that I have a belief that doesn't serve me anymore, a belief that leads to hurt, leads to pain. And that belief is more along the lines of I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, or I don't do it right, or they have more power than I do, or they have more influence, or they have the right to take it away because I have no power. Whatever it is, dig in there and see.
Yeah.
Because it's not who you are in the valued self. It's not the you the more that has this issue. The lesser self is arguing for that limitation. And you know what the outcome is. If you play it out as a script, well, I get to make him bad and wrong, and I get to be upset, and I get to walk away. Job done. Don't have to make any sales calls. You see how that works.
Yeah.
Or even worse, you do make a lot of sales calls and the company benefits and makes a lot of sales, but you never get a penny.
Right.
And then you have rage. So as you really let in, no, that is not the script I want to play out. That's not who I am. And so also you're challenged by the housemate situation mainly because you have a memory of how it could be and you have a new expectation of how you want it to be, and those aren't being fulfilled. And you may have to get to a point. We're not saying you're there yet. There may be, it is important to set boundaries. Say, look, we understand, we have compassion that you're going through things. These are some of the house rules. In order to live in our space, these things need to happen. If it's not the right space for you, we completely understand. You can go. But things like showing up, doing her part, communicating, being available when you need her to be, not necessarily when she finds it convenient, if there are things to clean up or if there's projects that she's signed on for, whatever, just be clear in the communication and value yourself and say, I have this much time. We're going to work on this, and then I'm going to go walk the dog, or I'm going to go take care of this. I'm going to do real estate, or I'm going to do, and it's not that you're accountable to that person at all. But as you are more transparent in saying, this is what my day looks like, and I'm only available this amount of time, that's it. That will create a level of peace and calm in you, because then you're not spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah.
Because you are highly empathic. And so it's important for you to set that boundary, energetic boundary. I'm not going to indulge in her life, in figuring her out, in fixing what's wrong. It's a temptation. We understand. There's fun in it, but it doesn't serve you. Because as you're noticing, oh, I'm having a hard time seeing her as whole and complete. She's got all this stuff going on. How do I reconcile that? Remind yourself, she has a higher self, just like you do. She has a soul and a spirit. We're there to help her. And when you feel burdened, ask your higher self to lift anything that you did take on, and then invite her higher self and soul to come and care for her. And that then sets the tone. Oh, I understand. She has a higher self. That means I don't have to fix her. That means I can be compassionate, but I don't have to do anything. I can allow her higher self to change things in my illusion. Does that help?
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Yes.
So the party's Saturday night. There's a forecast for rain. I'd love to do weather magic. I've never done much of it. How can I ask Mother Nature or the clouds to, like, not rain?
Well, can it rain at a different time?
Yes.
After or before, and not affect?
Okay. So I just ask Mother Nature.
Do a little negotiation. Hey, this is how I want my party to look and feel, and you see it sun shining, or if it's night sky, then the stars are above, or whatever, however you see the party. Everybody having a good time, and it's just the perfect environment. And afterwards, you see yourself after saying, wow, that was amazing. We had so much fun. It was everything I wanted to be and more. And wasn't that neat that the weather complied or cooperated? And you don't have to tell anybody you did the magic, but you're going to ask.
Awesome. Thank you.
Because it's different when you still allow the rain, but you make a requirement. Hey, can you just do it some other time? That's a little easier to believe than I'm just going to stop the rain altogether because I want it to be that way. So now you're in more of a cooperative spirit. You're more flexible, you're more fluid, and you still want what you want. With harm to none. With elegance and ease. Beautiful.
Thank you, Tora.
All right. Wonderful. We already sense the celebration even before it has begun. Wonderful. All right. And who is next?
Henry.
Hello, Tara.
Yes, dear one.
Good to be with you again. Thank you. We talked last week about, I said I had the success with being able to afford my way through the next few weeks, and you mentioned other things that could come up that would that I would let myself block myself, as it were. And what I realized was, that, well, what came up was that, the taxes problem that I've been talking about. I hadn't been thinking about that when I was thinking, oh, I'm okay for rent. And, the taxes problem is, so it just looks so huge because I haven't dealt with it. I haven't actually declared the real problem yet, and then realizing that I need to do something about that, and just kind of getting frozen, and so kind of letting it fall apart. But the thing that's really been coming up was that I've been getting to grips with is that my higher self will support me at any time, whatever I do, even if I make really, really bad decisions, like today, for example, really bad choices out of my lesser self. I'm just seeing that, I'm thinking, well, I do these things badly and I'm making the wrong decisions, all those sort of things. My higher self's just going to say, well, he's no use. And we talked about that before, but I'm getting the feeling now of that can be okay. And I mean, today I was just determined to do something that I knew that I thought that I shouldn't be doing, and just going off to have a lunch, and there were other things I need to do and all that sort of thing. But then when I got there, it was a delayed July the 4th party, and so there was a great meal and at the senior centre, and there was a band, and we were dancing, and I just found myself letting go and just completely just dancing my way around and just thinking, oh, I see, right. It doesn't matter, even if I think that I was making a bad mistake. I just felt the joy of being able to let go and just dance and all that sort of thing. So I can see that. And there's another thing came up with on the web that I thought I was going to have to do some changes to all my websites that I didn't know how to do, and looking at it, then it was, oh no, I don't, because I have a different version. And so, realizing that that's happened so much in my life when I've had these real problems, but the taxes thing is still, I'm just.
So what's important here is the knowing that you have had beautiful experiences in the past. You have created miracles, you've allowed them, and you've made them. And so there's a certain feeling you get when those happen. There's a sense of joy, there's a sense of peace, there's a sense of dominion and trusting higher self. And so as you substitute the feelings of anxiety that you have when you think of how big and huge and terrible the whole tax thing is, without actually having too many details, because you don't want to show up and say, hey, what's the problem going to be if I did all of this in the past? And so as you superimpose what you do want to feel, so you start with, you've done this swish pattern before with John and Katrina's group coaching, where you take the feeling that you do have and then you push it out and make it much smaller, and then you see the you that has the success, the feelings, the knowing, the joy. You see that in the distance, and you bring that forward with momentum, so that you're stepping into the you that has the joy and fully replacing those feelings. And so that you make that connection, you do it over and over again, because the you that that really, really worries about an unknown future isn't the part that can create it. The lesser self cannot create the future you want, but you the more can. And you the more exists in those other states of being, in the joy, in the miracles, in the love. And as you just distinguish that, oh, I'm not going to find the solution by feeling bad because I shut down, because my brain doesn't work the same way, because I get so consumed with the emotions, I get paralyzed. And I know that about myself because I do it again and again. But when I'm in this joyous state, and maybe you just revisit how joyful it felt to be dancing, the movement, the energy, the light, the love, the connection that occurs in that scenario, and you just relive it for a brief moment, and then you say, higher self, I need help with this future that I don't know what it's going to look like, but I want it to be elegant. I want it to be easy. I want it to be a miracle. Help me create that. Give me an idea of what to do next. And then just listen, or just go do something else and let it drop in when you're not paying attention, maybe when you're swimming or when you're walking or when you're doing something else that's fun, maybe when you're cooking a meal or when you're having a shower or whatever, or just as you're going to sleep, drifting off, and you let loose the illusion just enough to let your higher self slip something. Does that help?
Yes. It's interesting about the meditation tonight that I went to the night one, and I have trouble at night. Just just so much of my days are spent in just not doing anything, just thinking, what am I going to do? I should be doing that. I should be doing that. I should be doing that. And so it gets to late at night, and then I start trying to do things and so on. But and then I can't sleep, and then I sleep for a bit, and then I wake up, and then I know the dawn's coming, and I haven't really had any darkness, and so when the dawn comes, I mean, unlike in the meditation, it's kind of, oh dear, I've blown another night, and it's going to be no use. And so it was interesting to experience that in the meditation, that with the dawn and the new day. Hopefully I can
Wonderful.
bend in that direction. But basically, yeah, I mean, the things we talked about are also about, finding a new income and all that sort of thing. It's just I haven't gone for that, even though I did a workshop about it, doing it specifically with Katharina and John, and it's so then I just get despair about the fact that I'm not finding myself doing things
Okay, so in the meditation tonight, let's revisit that for a moment. Is the direction that you're heading in one of dominion, one of an optimal future where you get to be all that you are, where you are fully self-expressed, where you are filled with purpose, your soul's purpose for you? So as you recognize, oh, okay, and then what stops me is in the not knowing, in the not getting the guarantee that the dark is all consuming. I cannot see my next step. And the reason you can't see it is because you're not open to anything new. You are wanting the guarantee you see. And that's paralyzing.
Yeah.
So that's not all of you. That's the part of you. That's that unconscious program that stops you from moving forward And so that has been healed. And as you go into your night tonight, higher self, complete the healing. I don't need it anymore. I'd much rather feel the good feelings. I'd much rather move forward into something new. I don't know what it is, but my optimal future self does. And is already pulling me forward. And so what there is to do for each of you who have this question, well, what now? Okay, I did the meditation. Well, what now is to look for the evidence of the change, the effects. What's different? What do I notice that's different? Is it in my thoughts? Is it in my feelings? Is it in the opportunities that are being presented? Is it in me recognizing, oh, that problem I thought was going to happen disappeared? Isn't there anymore? Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. Yeah. I tend to, yeah.
All right, we do have a few more who are on the list. So we go with love and peace to you. Absolutely. We love you so.
Thank you, Tara.
All right, John, who is next?
Jessica.
All right. Yes, dear one.
Hi, Tara. Thank you. I had a very clear question earlier and I got confused with lots of things going on. But it has to do with, I'm sure I know the answer, but I want some support. What is the best way for me to stay focused on allowing things to work out more? I feel like I keep hitting walls, and I've been doing trying to focus on doing a lot of anger release work or emotional release work lately. The state of the world, the state of the uh, what's happening out there. Usually, I'm not someone that gets affected by it, or I make choices not to pay attention to it, and I feel like I'm getting really lost with letting all of it affect me. And then something goes wrong and I'm swirling down into negativity instead of being able to find ways. So I'd like some support in this.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so it's a simple matter of when I don't get what I want or what I say I want, I am disappointed. And it's important to acknowledge that. Oh, I didn't get what I wanted. Now what? See, there's two ways to go. Oh, well, I didn't create it anyway. Maybe I don't create my own reality. But that way is dissipating your power and not acknowledging who you truly are. It's the lesser self strategy of if I don't get what I want and I feel disappointment, well, then why bother anyway? That's safer
Mm-hmm.
than wanting something and not getting it. Better to just not want it. If I just don't want it, if I don't pay attention, and well, then I can't really be disappointed. It doesn't really work that way, though, does it? Because you see, the illusion is for you. All of the illusion, not just some of it. But, and it doesn't mean it is you, it's for you. It's to
Yeah.
show a range of possibilities. It's to help you choose something new. It's to help you recognize what raw materials are currently operating as a priority because they have taken form. And where do I want to replace some of those with something new, something that's more representative of who I'm becoming? And so, as you say, okay, I'm not happy with what the outer world is showing me. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. Do I turn that anger inward or do I feel outrage? And outrage doesn't have to take form as activism or anything like that. It can. Some people, that is how they know, oh, that's the difference I want to make. I want to be an activist so that my outrage is put to use as a valid choice. However, if your priority, no, I'm working on my inner self. I'm here to be more and to have positive impact. And I'm trying to reduce the distractions, narrow the focus to allowing and creating consistently a knowing that I have what I need and that more is coming.
Mm.
So as you recognize, okay, when I'm focusing on the outer world, that's a different exercise than going inward and shoring up and gathering energy and creating clarity and defining what I want. The going out into the world and seeing, where am I at? Well, if you're honest with yourself, you have plenty of good stuff. But the stuff that upsets you are the few things that aren't going well. Now, some of them are big things, and we get that. Right now, the world is in chaos. There's a breaking apart of structures. Structures that may or may not be reformed for your benefit in the future. You may choose totally new forms, you see. The new world is impacting, is having you redesign your inner self as well. What do I give priority to in my thoughts and feelings? How often am I aware of my connection to my higher self, to God, Goddess, to all that is, to soul, to spirit? And when am I clear that I'm connected and I'm a part of something more and that I get to choose? When am I aware of all of that? And how frequently? Is it just like a few moments? And then there's a turmoil that comes from the rest of the world having impact again? Or am I stretching that amount of time into more and more of my day of knowing all is well? All is well, meaning as a resonance, I'm choosing to know who I am. I'm choosing the me that has impact. I'm choosing the one that knows I have worth, that is given, and that I am loved. Because when I'm that person, then I'm willing to be here. Then I'm excited about creating something. Then it gets me going. Then it gets me moving forward. Then I start thinking about all these projects I still want to get done or want to start or want to participate in. So you may need more of a structure, like a journal or a list or a vision board or whatever, something that is if you're a visual person, a cue to you on, this is what I'm up to. Higher self, universe, participate. I know that my part of creating reality is choosing it. And then my willingness and my love allows a whole lot of stuff to happen magically. I'm participating with bringing my magic, bringing my vision, bringing my desire, my imagination, my expectation. But really, the way it all comes about, the how and the when and all of that, the universe brings it as quickly as is possible with harm to none, with elegance and ease. And if I'm holding out, you see, well, I don't really want to know that I create my own reality, because then I'd have to be responsible for all this crap. Some of you are dealing with that right now. Nothing's going right. I don't really create my own reality. I don't want to know. And
I
yet,
definitely feel stuck with not feeling like I need to be making different choices, but it's not clear to me.
okay,
And
so
so I
so
feel like I'm
we'll just
swirling around in confusion.
we'll just clarify. Choice is about the direction you're heading in. So there's some way out there future,
Uh-huh.
and there's a direction to choice.
Right.
And when you make a new choice, sometimes that emerges as just a tiny little change in the present moment, but a big change in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to sabotage yourself by saying, "Well, I made the choice, but there's no evidence of it yet. Therefore, I must not have made it." That's not true. So, but it's a general direction, a positive direction, or a creative direction, or an expansive direction, or innovation, or there's a broad stroke there. The decisions are what you're talking about. The decisions are, what am I going to do next? How am I going to get there? What, and we're inviting you to do it differently than cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of mapping it out perfectly as I'm going to do this, then that's going to happen, and this, and then something comes in and messes it all up, and then, oh, I got to start all over. Now, as you really let your optimal future self help you define your next step, and then you do as
You
much as
know,
you can without that guidance, but you get that overall guidance, and it all becomes much easier. So, for instance, you made the choice, I'm going to go to Texas. I want to finish some things while I'm there. And when we spoke to you about it, we're like, this is actually important for you to be there. You're helping heal some deep stuff in the earth there. And now you understand, oh, okay, well, when that I've done that, or I'm in the process of doing that, when that's finished, it's really up to me to choose how long do I stay and for what purpose.
yeah, I want to ask a question about, for instance, right now I'm living in a time where I'm in a contracted place around finances. And I can look and I know it's not always going to be this way, that something's going to shift and change. But last week I picked up my computer in not the right way and it broke the screen. And it's what I tend to do is then swirl downward into beating myself up. And I know that's not going to get me what I want, but I'm not quite clear, how is it just a matter of me just saying when those thoughts come up, critical of myself and why did you do that? And see, all those thoughts, just saying no. And
Well, they're coming up not because it's bad and wrong to have them, but it's because there's a party that needs some healing, that needs some attention. So breaking the computer, if you take it from the future creates the present, okay, well, what's the positive future that might have me drop my computer? I can't even think of any good reason. Seems really screwed up to create it that way, but it happened that way. So what might be the most positive outcome? Well, out of that, I forgive something in my past, my child who established a pattern of beating herself up.
hmm
I
yeah,
get to see it so clearly, and I get to choose, I don't think I want to treat myself that way anymore because that's not who I am.
right.
I want to be the compassionate, caring person that I expect anybody else to be towards me if I drop something of theirs.
Mm,
But as you say, but it was mine and I dropped mine, and it's going to cost more money and time, and it was something valuable to me, and now I don't have it, and now I'm feeling not enough, and now I'm not good enough, and then it's going into this downward pit of a well-worn pathway, isn't it? Not something that was created in that moment, but something that was familiar. And that's the
Yeah.
clue. If it's familiar, that's the lesser self saying, hey,
Mm.
trying to survive the best I can this incident. But if you were to take a moment, as you say, and just say no to that, okay, I see I'm doing it. I know I'm doing it, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to cross an imaginary line and step into me the more. And what do I know about me the more? Well, I'm connected. I have a higher self. I have a future self, an optimal future self, even. I have tools, I have skills, I have resources, I have magic, I have miracles, I have love. How do I want to respond to this? Well, I want it to be fixed. I want it to work elegantly, easily, effortlessly, maybe for free. I don't know. Maybe somebody just gifts me a new computer. I don't know how I'm going to get a computer that works, but I see myself
Mm-hmm.
having a computer that works. That's the one that I want, that feels good, that's makes me happy, and that's a whole different response, isn't it?
Yes, and something you just said was like, you said something about like if you had broken someone else's computer and they were forgiving
Yes.
about that. It brought up something for me where I'm living with a friend who I've realized really represents my father and the negative self-talk I do. Because I know he cares about me and would be that way, but he tends to go into critical talk. And I've been working with it in the way of like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I get to see
Yes.
how I treat myself, how I talk to myself.
Yeah. And you can also see, oh, if I'm projecting parent, I must be in child or adolescent. I better go check in with her
Right.
so
Yes, I've
that
been
that
doing a lot of
projection
that. Yes.
can dissipate more quickly. It's not a perfect reality. You have some give and take here. You don't have to do it perfectly, but
Right.
you're responding more quick. Oh, you had your higher self dropped in the thought. Oh, this is familiar. This is my father.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what it looks like when somebody's critical. And so as you really let that in, that you are connected, you are getting
Mm-hmm.
the information in a
Mm-hmm.
timely way so that you can respond differently. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So important to give yourself credit for what is working. And sometimes in the midst of the emotions, it's hard to identify it right away. But then in the magic, in the telling of it, you begin to recognize, oh, I did have that awareness, did have
Right.
that thought, and I can build on that. I can strengthen that, and I can commit to allowing that connection with my higher self to really help me dramatically change my reality, even financially.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There are no limits to what your higher self can co-create with you. And as
Mm-hmm.
you let that in, oh, I really bought some of those lies. Said I wasn't enough or wasn't good enough or I had to do it right or I had to be perfect or which is each of you are dealing with that. It's what's there to clean up. It's what's there to forgive. It's what's there to let go of in
Mm-hmm.
pursuit of something more beautiful in,
Mm-hmm.
in your next expansion. Oh, I don't have to take that with me. However, you do have to take your child with you and you have to take your adolescent. But as you really let your lesser self know, I'm not leaving you behind, you're going to get a new sense of safety. You're
Mm-hmm.
evolving too.
Mm-hmm.
it allows that change to happen more easily because you're really in conflict with yourself, not with the world. And
Yes.
as you let that in, oh, I can give voice to my conflicted part, and then my higher self can come in, my soul can come in, I can experience the healing, the integration into the whole, and then I can see what's possible. Because that is who I am. I am more.
Mm.
And you have grown and you have changed. And you know by our conversations with you as you go and listen to earlier ones, or you don't need to, but if you made notes and you come across, oh my gosh, I don't think that way at all anymore. I have changed. So beautiful. We love you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hi, Tara. So
Yes,
beautiful,
dear one.
Tara. Beautiful, Tara. I think you know. I mean, I should say think. Apologize. You know. I don't want to say it, and I hope this was okay. I hope that there he calms down. But this man that works there with us is from, I think you know. He like interrupting the relationship, and yeah, you know, and it's negative energy, and so therefore kind of trigger him, and all love and light. I hope that to some that I still am able to. I think the universe did this on purpose to get him, to get this bad entity. I know you seen him. I mean, so I can do my project, because I was seeing a blockage, and before this happened, and my question got answered. Of course, I would want to go over evil with love and compassion, but sometimes, like you said, the universe removes what's for best interest or blockage. But anyway, and going forward, what anything of, I'm sure you know what I'm trying to say, of him.
All right. And so the more you focus on him, the less you understand you create your own reality. And so it's important to detach from the illusion and return back into your inner self and say, okay, this isn't what I wanted. It's what I'm getting, but it's not what I wanted. Higher self, allow me to understand what is familiar about this situation, if anything. Came out of the blue, it's interfering with what I want. And yet, what's familiar to me about that? And is it your child or your adolescent that needs the attention? And then invite your higher self. Hey, higher self, work with my inner child, work with my inner adolescent so that I can be in my spiritual adult and I can continue to create the loving environment that I have been generating for a while now. I want to continue. And yet there is a part of you, just as this meditation from tonight, if you had a chance to do it, will be very powerful with this. And so look for the effects of the change you made tonight, because in the meditation, you addressed your unconscious resistance to creating what you want. And so as you let that in, oh, okay, I've healed that. The last bit of shame around that has been lifted. Doesn't mean you're never going to have shame again, but around whatever it was you asked for today, whatever that resistance is, the shame has been lifted. And so you are more than you were. You're more free to create, and there's less shame in your reality. And so you're going to find, be willing to have the humility to know it can be different tomorrow or the next day. Things can be different. With harm to none, because of course, when someone's threatening what you want, it's easy to get angry. It's easy to get volatile. It's easy to react to it, to get triggered. But just to remember, no, I create my reality. And I'm willing to allow the magic and miracles of love to prevail. All right. We love you so.
Thank you, beautiful Tara. I understand.
Absolutely. You're right on track.
Thank
All
you for
right.
your support. Thank you.
Wonderful. We love you so, each and every one of you who participated in the Q&A. Certainly so. It's for all of you. Each of you are bringing your light, your love, to hold the space, to allow the vulnerability and the truths, the higher truths that come through in these conversations are for each and every one of you. So beautifully executed, so to speak. Sharing who you are becoming in this way allows you to make it more real. I have grown, I have changed, and I'm changing even further as we move forward into a future that is more and more about dominion. And you are finding within you the ability to know what that means for you. And therefore, it will translate into your world as well. And so to be available to the change that is coming. Absolutely. Beautiful changes will be coming in a world that is waking up, a world that is waking up to their own sense of divinity. So important. Honoring your humanity, honoring your divinity. Not one or the other, but both. Yes, John.
Oh, just wondering if this would be an appropriate time to bring up what Katrina and I were talking about earlier.
Certainly. Yes, why not?
Well, it's probably far too broad, but maybe you can work with.
Well, just give us a sentence or two.
Well, the sentence would be, okay, as far as beliefs go, there are the beliefs that we're born with, that what we call the lesser self, the child, the adolescent, the young adult, that those beliefs that are given to us from society. In other words, the beliefs of the world, right, that we absorb and are necessary so that we can fit into the world that we're a part of, right? The time.
Yes, and we want to add to that so that you don't feel like a total victim.
Sure.
That you came into the lifetime with an agreement with soul, with higher self. Hey, this is what we're going to work on. These are the primary energies that we're interested in having an impact on. And so the design, when you first come into the physical plane, begins to remind you of what you're here to do. And so, yes, in a world of duality, there is a lot of constriction because it was intended for you to react to. Some things you just knew, well, that's not me. That's not me. This isn't me. Other things were like, oh, is that me? Do I need to deal with that in this lifetime? Are you sure? And others were, oh, this is definitely who I am. So there's different levels of intensity. Some was rejection, some was ambivalence, and some was absolute certainty, you see.
Okay.
So you had a whole range of responses, just so you know that it was by design. And so each lifetime has these parameters of, okay, higher self, give me scenarios that help me focus my attention on what matters. And it's different ways. Sometimes it's by rejecting, sometimes it's not being sure, and sometimes it's with certainty, you see. All right, and so what's next out of
Well, I
that?
was going to say, and so at least in the model of the world that I was brought up in, where the idea is that the truth is out there, that the universe is the truth, the world out there is the truth, and it's our job to discover what's real, because the world out there, the outside, is real. And, we have beliefs that we form about the world out there. Some are true, some are not. And how we know that's the case is the ones that get validated, like in science, you come up with a hypothesis or something, and you believe this, And then you discover along the way that, oh, it's not that way at all. So the world corrects the beliefs that we have, right? And, you know, so that's one part of it. Then the other part is, you know, in the metaphysics and stuff, well, the metaphysics point of view is, well, it's not really that way. The world is an illusion, and it's represented by those forces that we don't really understand. Some people call it the universe, some people call it higher selves and soul and God, goddess, all that is, whatever the labels are. But that world out there is a projection of our beliefs and the raw materials, as you said earlier, to some of the raw materials and the tools. And it's represented in what we call the world, and that the world in that scene is not the truth. It's mutable in that philosophy of metaphysics. The world itself, even though it does seem solid and immutable, is mutable and changes as we change our inner landscape, and it reflects that. And as you've said, the world is for us, created by those forces that we may or may not have, that we may or may not be aware of, may or may not have a relationship with. But nonetheless, they create the world for us so that we can see who we are being. And that's part of the design, is kind of the energy comes from, as you say, from God, goddess, all the way through our higher selves and that. And it's God, goddess exploring something in this world through us. So we're an essential piece of it. We're not some, just whatever. We're a part of that whole process. And so that those energies that we're experiencing, we call life, that's very important. It has, like you say, it has a focus. Now, in all of that, I guess people still in our world tend to live like, no, the truth is out there, the truth is in the world, and I have to alter my beliefs, or that world will alter my beliefs according to, as the truths are uncovered, it'll correct my incorrect beliefs, so to speak. And there is some of that, it's not a clear-cut thing. Because if I try to walk through a wall at this stage, I ain't going to get a bloody nose, right? It's not going to work. And so I believe, and my experience. So there's a give and take in all of this, right?
So the first thing that you said that indicates that you're not aware it's an illusion is the statement, people out there are wondering, is it real? Is it not real? So that's reflecting back to you, oh, there's still a part of me who feels much more comfortable and safe thinking those thoughts. Being in the inquiry of it, is it so? Is it not so? And to be fair, you don't have, as you say, I don't have very solid proof that this is an illusion. It feels awfully real when I touch a wall or when I shake hands with somebody. And yet I have had many experiences, significant experiences, where when I went into the inner realm and worked with my higher self, or worked with my child, my adolescent, imbued my energy with soul, things changed. When I forgave myself something that I thought was unforgivable, things changed for me. When I took a chance, I got information from Lazarus or Tara or my higher self, and I took a chance on following through on that guidance that I asked for, that I received. And it became something much more than I ever expected. So as you really let in, yes, it's not one way, it's not consistent. And so it can be destabilizing at times because your lesser self is looking for consistency. What's the formula for perfection? What's the formula to get it right every time?
The guarantee.
Yes. And so as long as that requirement for a guarantee is there, it ties the hands of your higher self. Your higher self has no permission to intervene, to create miracles, to bring you more than what you specifically asked for. And if you ask for it and it didn't happen, and then you decide it didn't happen because I'm not enough, instead of it didn't happen, I should try again, a very different conversation, isn't it?
Right.
So it's about becoming familiar with your inner dialogue. Well, what part of me is talking? Which part is in charge? And do I even think or know that I create my own reality? And is there value in thinking and knowing that I create my own reality? Because you see, you did come in with that exploration. Do I? And when it occurred to you that, oh, if I think I do, there are certain things that happen within me. I feel better. I relax. I become more hopeful. I start focusing on a future. I start defining what do I want instead. It activates something within me that I didn't expect. And it's not no longer about answering it perfectly. It's not about getting it right. It's about exploration of the topic. If I create my own reality, how would I like it to look? What would I like it to be? And if I create my own reality, why would I create myself feeling alone or being abandoned or being hurt or being a failure, whatever it is, whatever the pattern from the past is that you want to heal, that you want to be free of. When you add in, what if I do create my own reality? And the reason this persists is not for no reason, but because it's an opportunity to heal it so that I can grow and become more. Does that help? So you do create your own reality. Are you conscious of it, or is it occurring unconsciously? Because you are much more than you see in the physical plane. You are much more than you can give evidence for. So you create your own reality primarily through allowing. And you begin, or you did many years ago, began the exploration. What does that mean? That's intriguing. What does it mean that I allow it? Seem clear that I allow it, but what does that really mean? Is it a topic of permission? Did I give permission for what I have? Or am I completely unconscious and asleep? And it's just by design that the illusion just emerges every morning. When I wake up into an illusion. For years, you thought the illusion you woke up into was guaranteed to be a cause of the day before, until we let you know, hey, how do you know the backdrop you downloaded when you woke up is the same as yesterday? And so that then opened up the possibility, well, maybe the past isn't so fixed. Maybe it always just makes sense based on the context I'm currently in and the future I'm heading into. And if the future creates the present, what if I change the future that's creating the present? What happens? So it's an exploration, you see, and you can't possibly explore all the aspects of this in one lifetime. So you have many lifetimes. But this is the one where you're most conscious. And that's important information, isn't it?
And why is that important?
Because choice resides in the conscious mind. So you have more powerful choice at this furthest most point of separation than you did in the early lifetimes in Lemuria, where you were fully connected, where life was, for the most part, most lifetimes were perfection in a way, what you would call perfection today. Everything just worked. I didn't have to do anything. I just woke up into the dream, and I woke up into the dream, and I woke up into the dream, and no, I didn't know I was doing any of it. This lifetime you came and said, but I want to know if I'm doing it. And I want to know what part I play, and I want to know that I matter, and I want to know that I have value. And as you let that in, that's part of this lifetime. And that's the gift you're going to give all your lifetimes. And so it is important to know. It is important to experience what's illusion, what's more real. It's important to allow your soul to have impact on you, to know that you matter and what you came here to do, that you have a purpose, and that you are unique. You're a unique expression of God, Goddess. And there are those of you who want to be special. You are, but not in the way you think. Because when you find out everybody's unique, then you're like, well, how can I be special if everybody's unique? But as you own your uniqueness, as you claim your right to shine your light and flow your love in your way, as you know that you matter, that your presence matters. They're just words a lot of times until you really go into the words and understand, yeah, that's what that longing is that I feel. That's what has me keep returning to wondering, how do I know I create my own reality? Something's important about that. Does that help?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And the NLP concept of the territory, the map not being the territory, the idea that our physical body we use to perceive the illusion, as you call it, the world that we live in, is very limited in those perceptions. It's got five senses.
Well, allow it to be specific and focused. It only brings you that information that is important for you to work with at that time. It doesn't give you random information. If you're reaching for success and you get a failure, it didn't bring you that failure for no reason. It's so that you could learn and grow and move beyond that pattern or that program and open to a new definition of success and to interact with success differently, you see. Does that help? So there's levels of shame being healed. It used to be you couldn't make any progress because you couldn't get past the thought, there's something wrong with me, I'm defective, I'm not a very good reality creator. Look at the failures I'm creating. But as you've been healing and releasing the shame and letting it be lifted and healing the pain and addressing the sorrows of failure and knowing that you are enough and that you are good enough, that you are loved and you are a part of divinity, that you have worth that is given. You're creating a different reality now. The automatic reality creation machine is working just fine. You have more choice. You have more love. You have more a sense of a self than you had before. You have more courage and more confidence in creating something new. You are more curious and more flexible, to your credit. You're willing to be wrong in pursuit of what is right. Having humility is important. It can be different tomorrow than it was today.
Mhm.